A pilot program to give kids a free lunch is expected to be rolled out to more than 120 schools by 2021. Today, the Prime Minister announced a program to feed hungry children would be trialled next year in 30 schools centred around the Bay of Plenty and Gisborne. The price tag, $45 million. But there's no details of exactly how the new service will be delivered. Individual schools are being left to decide that themselves. The Prime Minister says the government will keep funding other school food programs alongside its lunch program. Now, KidsCan is one of those programs, and founder Julie Chapman is on the line now. Good evening, Julie. Have they got this largely right, do you think?
I think this is a positive move. I think to appreciate the scale of the issue, and certainly in terms of what we do, we're already providing food in 740 schools, supporting 30,000 children a day, and we certainly can't keep up with the demand. We have 38 schools waiting and more than 100 early childhood centres who actually need this program.
Well, that's interesting. So 100 early childhood centres. This new program will only target primary and intermediate. Does it go far enough in your view?
I think it's a good start, but certainly what we have found over the past 14 years of doing this work is that the need has increased, and recently early childhood centres were reaching out to us and telling us that younger children indeed were going hungry and missing out on those basics that we've been providing in schools.
So it's going to grow to 120 schools. The budget's $45 million. Knowing what you do about how much your work costs, how does that budget seem?
Yeah, speaking from our perspective, I can tell you that on an annual basis, KidsCan puts $2 million into food items. We provide bread, baked beans, hot meals, spreads, yoghurt, muesli bars, and we are able to, through our supplier relationships and procurement, to deliver $4 million worth of value, which is providing food for 30,000 children a day currently.
So, through your buying power and relationships, you basically double your real cash, correct?
Absolutely. So for every dollar we invest in food, we deliver $2 in value.
Okay, so the Prime Minister has said that the government's going to leave it up to individual schools to deliver their lunch program how they see fit. What do you think of that?
I think there's a real opportunity for government and organisations like ourselves to play a part in procuring the best prices possible for food items, in particular fresh food items that schools can then access through a collective kind of bargaining power.
Can you give us an example of that? Sorry, Julie, to interrupt, but can you give us a tangible example?
Yes, I can. So when we were costing moving into early childhood, for example, we went out to a range of suppliers. We asked them for their costings. In particular, just giving one example, we asked for fruit costings. Now, what we found was that the government-funded agency, Fruit in Schools, was actually 3 times the price of the countdown product that we now use and have delivered to those early childhoods. So I guess, without knowing more detail, my one kind of reservation and what I'd like to see is that this money, which is taxpayer money, is used in the best way possible, procuring the best quality food, but for the best prices, and not necessarily leaving it up to schools themselves to have to build those relationships in procurement and supply chains.
So just for a minute, imagine that you're given the $45 million. How would you work it?
So I think what we've identified over the last sort of 6 months is there is a particular need and a growing need in early childhood, so under 5s. We know that there are about 1,000 early childhood centres that are community-based, so not privately owned, and what they call equity 1 to 4. So I guess if someone was to front up and give us $45 million tomorrow, I would certainly invest it there in the first instance, because I think it's so important for our littlest children in their first 1,000 days to get the nutrition they need, but also to participate in education. And certainly the research project that we have running alongside this program, which is a 2-year project, is already revealing that children are happier, healthier, and roll numbers and participation has increased significantly.
Julie, just quickly before you go, the government is aiming to feed kids at 120 schools with 45 million. You say that you're in 740 schools, was it, around about, with $2 million. So with the 45 million, how many schools do you reckon you could get into? Could you do them all?
Well, look, we've always been really specific about, working in decile 1 to 4 schools where the most need is. I think it's important to note that between Kickstart, KidsCan, we have more than 80% coverage of schools across New Zealand. I guess we would use the money to expand on what we do. It's always been a challenge for us to feed every child in a school because of limited funding. But in saying that, our schools are free to implement the program as they see fit, and they can right now order as much food as they need for their children. So I guess it would mean that we could do more, do it better, and reach more children.
Appreciate you joining us this evening. That is Julie Chapman, who is the founder of the KidsCan program, who obviously provides food and other resources to underprivileged children.